What happens when a life filled with promise is cut short, and the mystery of her death haunts us for decades? How can someone slip through the cracks of society and vanish into darkness? Hi, I'm Sasha, and welcome to Sasha's Whispers of Crime Chronicles. If you're a true crime enthusiast like me, hit that subscribe button and join me as we uncover the chilling details of some of history's darkest unsolved mysteries. I'll be here every Wednesday. Today, we plunge into the infamous case of Elizabeth Short, forever remembered as the Black Dahlia. This isn't just a story of a brutal crime, it's a tale of ambition, fame, and the grim realities that lurk beneath the glittering surface of 1940s Los Angeles. Stay with me as we retrace her final days and dig deep into the mystery of her horrific murder. Los Angeles, 1947. A city of dreams where stardom seemed within reach for those daring enough to chase it. Elizabeth Short was one of those dreamers. Known for her dark hair and striking looks, she embodied the allure of Hollywood. But her dream would become a nightmare. Born on July 29, 1924, in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, Elizabeth was the third of 5 daughters in a struggling family. Her father, Cleo, vanished during the Great Depression, leaving her mother, Phoebe, to raise the children alone. Elizabeth dropped out of school at 15, seeking something more, something bigger than the small, confined world of Massachusetts. Her prayers were answered in 1942, when her father, Cleo, reappeared after years of absence. He invited her to move to California and stay there with him. Elizabeth hoped for a new beginning, but life with her father was far from what she imagined. Cleo expected Elizabeth to take on traditional housewife duties, cooking, cleaning, and maintaining the household. But Elizabeth, with dreams of Hollywood stardom, refused to be confined by these expectations. Their relationship quickly soured. The constant arguments over her not fulfilling these duties created unbearable tension in the household. By January 1943, Elizabeth packed her bags and left, determined to find her own way in the world. After leaving her father's home, Elizabeth made her way to Florida, where she met Major Matthew Michael Gordon Jr., an Air Force pilot. Their romance was brief but intense, culminating in a proposal before Gordon tragically died in a plane crash during World War II. This loss left Elizabeth devastated, forcing her back to California, alone and uncertain about the future. Her Hollywood dreams seemed farther away than ever. In 1946, Elizabeth relocated to San Diego, living with a woman named Dorothy French, who found her sleeping in a theater lobby. It was here, in Southern California, that Elizabeth's life seemed to spiral into chaos. She was broke, couch surfing, and working odd jobs just to survive. Her dazzling beauty caught people's attention, but her life lacked the security and stability she craved. During this period, Elizabeth's relationships were marked by brief romances, including one with Robert, Red Manley, a married man who would later play a key role in the investigation into her death. The more she tried to build a life in California, the more it seemed to slip through her fingers. On January 9, 1947, Elizabeth was last seen alive at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She arrived with Red Manley, who dropped her off and claimed she was meeting her sister. But she never met her. Instead, Elizabeth lingered in the hotel lobby, seen by several witnesses. She was calm, but seemed anxious, as if waiting for someone or something. What happened next remains a mystery. Elizabeth walked out of the hotel into the cool January night, and from that moment, she disappeared into the shadows of Los Angeles. For 6 long days, no one knew where she was, but when she was found, the city would never be the same. It was a crisp, quiet morning in Leimert Park. A mother and her young daughter were walking down the street when something caught their eye. A pale, mannequin-like figure lying in a vacant lot. But as they approached, they realized it wasn't a mannequin. It was the mutilated body of Elizabeth Short. Her body had been cleanly cut in half. The skin was eerily pale, drained of blood. Her face had been slashed into a grotesque smile, and she had been posed in a way that seemed both deliberate and cruel. The discovery was so horrific, so shocking, that the woman who found her immediately ran to call the police. The crime scene was chilling, with no sign of struggle, no blood around the body, suggesting she had been killed elsewhere. The precision of the cuts indicated a certain level of medical knowledge. The brutal violence raised unsettling questions. Who could have done this? And why? The investigation quickly became a media circus. Reporters swarmed the case, and Elizabeth was given the name that would forever define her legacy, the Black Dahlia. Los Angeles police launched a massive investigation, interviewing over 150 suspects. But leads were scarce. Among the first was Red Manley, the last known person to see Elizabeth alive. Though Manley passed a polygraph and had an alibi, suspicion lingered around him. Could someone close to Elizabeth have been responsible for such a gruesome act? Other suspects included local doctors, with one theory suggesting that Elizabeth had been killed by a man with medical training due to the precision of the cuts. Some even believed the killer had surgical experience, but none of these leads ever panned out. As days turned into months and months into years, theories began to multiply. Some believed Elizabeth was killed by a serial killer, perhaps the Cleveland torso murderer, who had terrorized Ohio with similarly mutilated victims. Could the same killer have followed her to Los Angeles? Others speculated that Elizabeth had fallen into the dark, dangerous side of Hollywood. Some whispered about her connections to the seedy underbelly of the industry, where promises of fame sometimes led to exploitation, and women like Elizabeth became pawns in a deadly game. There were also those who thought her killer was never far away, perhaps someone she trusted, or even someone she was romantically involved with. Her transitory lifestyle and string of brief, intense relationships made it difficult to pinpoint any one suspect. The case had so many layers, it was hard to untangle fact from fiction. One of the most sensational theories involved Dr. George Hodel, a prominent Los Angeles doctor whose son later accused him of being the Black Dahlia's murderer. The Hodel family home was notorious for wild parties attended by Hollywood elites, and Dr. Hodel's behavior only added fuel to the fire. His son, a former LAPD homicide detective, published a book claiming to have uncovered evidence linking his father to the crime. More than 70 years have passed, and the murder of Elizabeth Short remains unsolved. But the case of the Black Dahlia isn't just a story of a crime. It's a reflection of a city where dreams and nightmares collide, and the truth can be harder to find than the fiction we create. As we look back on her story, we must remember that behind every headline is a real person, with a life full of hopes and fears, dreams and disappointments. Elizabeth Short was more than just a tragic figure. She was a woman who deserved better. What do you think happened that night? Was the killer someone close to her, or did the darkness of Hollywood consume her? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more stories from Sasha's Whispers of Crime Chronicles. And as always, stay curious, but most importantly, please stay safe.